Hey everybody, what does this bag have to do with youth ministry? Find out today in today's real-time training. So, what does this little bag here have to do with youth ministry? Well, it's really about where you can find inspiration for your youth ministry and how you execute things and how you do things in your youth ministry. This little bag here came from a sandwich shop called Which. I don't know if you've ever eaten there. I only had one time there, but it impressed me so much, I'm probably going to go back. But if you look at this bag here, you can see it's got all these customizable ways to do your sandwich. And, when you walk in there, you see all the different things. You see numbers, you see, if I want a number 1 or a number 2 or a number 3, and number 3 is all meat, and then you kind of check off all the meat things you want, or you can do a lot of different things there. But I just thought about that for a second, and I thought about the customization of youth ministry. That everything's custom today. You can customize your Twitter account, you can customize your Facebook, you can customize anything, and yet youth ministry in a lot of ways has stayed static for so long. It's one size, fits all for everybody. And I began to think about it. So what if a kid could design his own devotions for himself? And this makes a little bit of work for me, but I don't mind so much if a kid is going to get what he needs out of that. So I started to think, what if a kid could go there, and this is kind of where our Healthy Habits book came out. For the kids, and it offers a little bit of customization because they can kind of pick and choose a little bit, but it's even going to go further than that because it's going to get into other issues. Right now it's just about things like your eyes and your ears and things that you watch out for and healthy habits in those areas. But coming up now in February, we're going to be talking more about relationships, dating, sex, things like that. And so there'll be some customizable, what I'll call vitamins, these little pills here. Let me go ahead and show you a little bit about this here. See, I have this little thing here, these little vitamins here that kind of go with that. It goes with the eyes and the ears and the mouth and the heart and those things. And what I'll do is I'll customize these. These are general. They deal with those things individually. They're somewhat specific to those things. There's a scripture, and you kind of see there. And then in the journal, they go ahead and write down some things that they've learned from that scripture. But what it'll happen is if they say, look, if they're in a different point in their life, this is going to be an ongoing thing for them. For a teenager, it's always about relationships, friendships, identity, self-image, things like that. And so we're going to create kind of a package deal with that at least for this season, where they can kind of customize their own things of what their devotion time is going to be about. And so I guess for all of us, we all have to think, well, how can I do a job of customizing, thinking of our individual kids, and how much can I customize and not treat everybody in our group like a conglomerate, one size fits all. Even Jesus treated his disciples differently, especially Peter, James, and John, who got on those really cool trips they got to go on, Transfiguration and praying with him in the garden and things like that. And so so when we start to think about customization, we have to think, what are the needs in a kids group, and what can I do to customize our youth ministry experience to where a kid comes in and says, look, this guy, this leader, is thinking about my needs and thinking about, rather than trying to get me to fit in with the program, he's trying to, or she is trying to equip me for life and equip me for the things with a biblical knowledge and values and things that I can be able, to reflect upon in my daily life. Let me give you another thing: the customization of the bag here. But then there's another place I went to called Genghis Grill, and Genghis Grill has these cool cards here. If you can see this here, let me put this in front of you. Okay, this is a number 2. This is a beef broccoli, and that card number 2 right there tells you what that meal is. Well, what goes into that meal is these items right here, right? So there's a bunch of things on there, and you go through the line, and each of those things on the buffet are numbered, so you know how to build your meal. And so that's just another part of customization, I think. It says 1 scoop of beef, 1 spoon of citrus garlic herbs, 1 scoop of white onions, tomatoes, broccoli, mushrooms, 1 ladle of 3G sauce, which, by the way, is pretty good, and then spiral pasta, So those are all the ingredients that go into that. So now the question that I have to face, and we're going to move on to something like this, where it says, look, number one is about relationships. Well, what do you need in those relationships? Well, the ingredients for those to have a great relationship will be on the back of the card. Number 3 will be about self-esteem. Number 4 will be, and there'll be junior high and senior high type topics and things like that where they can build their own devotion time. So when we're looking into, our youth ministries, we should always ask, I think, at least for me, I always ask, what can I do to meet the individual needs of a kid in my group, and am I willing to go the extra mile to be able to do that? And so as you're thinking about it today, think about your own group. Think about the kids in your group, and think about their needs, and think, well, what can I do to customize the youth ministry experience for them? This meeting that they're going to come to, how can I customize it? Not to appeal to the lowest base thing, but to customize it in a way, the way Jesus did, the way Jesus spoke to Peter, the way Jesus spoke to John, the way Jesus spoke to, he had an individualism where he could speak to the masses, but when he talked to his disciples, he talked to them very specifically. With Peter, he told, when he got it wrong, he said, look, Satan, get behind me. That's not the plan for my life. When he spoke to James and John, he spoke to them specifically, to their mother, about the fact that they want to be in the kingdom and things like that. And so Jesus really customized the experience of following him in such a way to where it became, they knew that Jesus cared about them. And so I guess that's my thought for the day, and I thank you today for joining me for real-time training, and maybe give you some thoughts on how to customize your youth ministry towards your students, maybe in their devotional lives, maybe in the worship experience, maybe in the preaching, maybe, we just all figure out ways to do that. So thanks for coming by today. You can follow me on Twitter at PaulTurner2, that's Too. You can hit me on Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe right there, or leave a comment. You know where to do that. And so I enjoyed being with you, and we'll see you next time for another episode of Real Time Training. Thanks.